All right, welcome back, watch fans. Today we are covering the Christie's New York watch auction for June 10th. We got some really interesting lots, especially a major, I would call it the blue chip of Rolex vintage, which is the Stelline. That is going to be, I believe, the star of this auction, probably the star of all the New York sales next week or later this week, next week, and it's an incredible watch. But let's dive into the sale. We'll start off with some of the basic lots, and then we'll do we'll get to the Stelline, a couple of the other incredible some incredible pieces that are going to be up for bidding June 10th again in New York. All right, so let's get into it. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna skip past kind of the basic modern stuff. I do want to kind of cover lot 10, kind of a benchmark, the Rolex Date 40 white gold with the blue dial, Roman numerals. This is going to be, I believe, really one of the real classics of Rolex in the future. And the prices for this, again, they kind of went crazy during the COVID era. They've been on their way down. The retail for this is roughly about, I should say secondary market is about 37, 35 grand right now. And I think those prices are kind of going to be heading down to probably bottom out around 28,000 over the next, I would say 6 to 12 months. They're probably going to stay there for quite a while, for I would say a number of years. Right, this is not a get rich quick scheme, but once you kind of get it at the bottom of that, I'll use the word amortization curve. If you can pick this up for around 28 grand, which I think you will be in about within the next 6 to 12 months, this is really going to be seen as really one of the great classics of Rolex, years from now. So even if you want to look, it may cost you a little bit more now. You enjoy the watch, you enjoy the watch sooner. And hey, I might be wrong. It may only bottom out at 32,000, whatever, right? But this, I believe, is going to be one of the classics. And okay, so the estimate here is 20 to 40,000. It's a little bit of a low. It's a little bit of a low estimate to kind of get the encouraged bidding. It'll probably hammer for 28,000, 30,000 plus the premium, which is, did they raise it? Did they lower it? I know Sotheby's lowered it. I know Christie's. What is it? 25? Is it 27? What is the number? What is the percent? What are they charging now? These guys have recently. People have changed the premium. I'll get to that later. So they got a couple of these dates over here. Let's see what else. We got the olive green dial. This is not the one. In rose gold with the olive green dial, yes. White gold green dial. This is going to be considered like a dog of the range for the future. Not a dog with fleas, but kind of a dog, right? Let's keep moving. Let's see. We're going to get to lot. I'm going to skip pretty quickly to lot 35. Again, we got the usual Aquanauts, a lot of modern FP Journes, a lot of FP Journes coming onto the market. Guys, don't believe this hype about FP Journe. It's gotten way ahead of itself, and especially a lot of these kind of basic models, these Havanas or whatever. These things are gonna slowly drift back down to earth. They got way ahead of themselves. Listen, trees don't grow to the sky. Okay. The FP Journe market has gotten a little bit ahead of itself. Let me get to the MB&F. Now, this is a market that's actually on fire. MB&F is on fire. By the way, guys, before I get any further, make sure that if you want to get our latest news updates on modern vintage watches, whether it's Rolex, AP, Patek Philippe, you got to get our free weekly newsletter. Okay, it went out today. Actually, we had 2 issues this week because we had a lot going on. But usually, you're going to get it once or twice a week. It's free to get the newsletter. Click the link in the video description below. I'm going to give you a quick, just going to show it to you real quick right over here. It's the one. It's the one on the right. That's kind of a little quick snapshot that kind of shows you what's going on in the market, deals of the week, etc. So click the link in the video description below to get that, and you're going to join again thousands of sophisticated collectors who want to stay on top of the market and the latest trends. Now, MB&F is again one of those hot trends, I should say. Everything is going for this brand right now. This independent brand. It's a relatively small production, so this is a perpetual calendar. My only issue with this is this, right? Like these are watches. This has got to be like, this is like your 10th watch or something. This is not for the amateurs. And the size is a little big. It's a big size. You have kind of this domed crystal. It's a bulky watch to wear on the wrist. It's really something where, if you're really into, again, high horology, this is, independent watchmaking. This is it right here. So they did an edition of 25. This is number 8 of 25, 2015. And this is probably going to go for, I don't know, it could be 150, 160 grand. I don't have any real market opinion on these. I mean, I think it's, again, there's a lot of demand. They are selling. I don't really have any kind of opinion onto the real long-term trend because, these things are so, it's still, again, in the scheme of things, it's such a relatively new brand. And, with watches, it's fashion, right? So we've seen these trends. They could go for 10 years and then they burst, right? Whether you were talking about Frank Muller, in the 1990s, Panerai in the early 2000s, Alain Silberstein in the early 90s. And I think the same thing is happening with, we're going through those cycles with Journe, with Richard Mille, with MB&F. I think MB&F still is in that early phase. Richard Mille is kind of in the mature phase where you're going to see definitely things leveling off. But again, MB&F are doing a lot of really interesting things. So it's, dynamic young brand, a lot of innovation. Keep an eye on them. Let's see, Chapek. I don't really, again, I don't really care too much about Chapek. I just want to bring up this, which is J.N. Shapiro. This is a watch made in the United States. Unbelievable, but true. Actually, in Los Angeles. That's right, in L.A. This is made in L.A., which is pretty crazy. I think this is like, I don't know how many watchmakers have been in California historically. I can't imagine there's been more than, I don't know of any. There might have been one, maybe in the 19th century. I don't know. But this guy basically, he's a real artisan. Is it Josh? Yeah, Josh Shapiro, I think it is. And it's a relatively new company, right? It's, again, limited production. I think the retail on these is in the 60s or 50, 60, 80, it's 50, it's up there, right? I think they're starting to do an in-house movement. I'm not that sure. Look, the main thing basically you're getting is, kind of, again, it's the guilloche, the design, which is, what you get with, Breguet, of course, at a much cheaper price. And then, of course, you have those, that British brand, what's his name? It's not George Daniels, the other guy I'm trying to think of, that goes for crazy money. Although he does, do the movements and everything. That's a much higher level. But this is kind of interesting to see what these go for, right? So 15 to 30,000 is the estimate. So the case is ruthenium. 15 to 30,000 estimate. I'm curious to see what this goes for, right? To see what these sell for, like, on the open market. Would be interesting to find out, right? Let's take a look here. Okay, and also I'll send out an invite if anybody wants to join on the panel. There we go. All right, so we got Shapiro, Greubel Force. They got a couple of Greubel Forces. Nothing really amazing. They got a couple of kind of relatively, I don't want to use the word basic, but relatively, I don't want to say simple. I mean, nothing simple about these. They're just not that. I don't think they're that exciting. When I think of Gros Force, I think of something crazy like the GMT. This is kind of, I don't know, what is the deal? They got is it a tourbillon? What is it? This is a balance, oversized balance. So they got a couple different watchmakers on. This is like real deep horology. I'm not going to get into it. It's a little bit above my pay grade, to be honest. And again, it's like MB&F. I'm curious about the watches. Not something I would buy. But it is fascinating just to kind of look at these crazy designs, and the workmanship and everything else. So this is the Balancier. Oh, so this is a limited edition 33 Balancier. By the way, again, I gotta just clear something up. I always like to say, when these independent brands, when they talk about limited editions of 30, 25, whatever it is, that's not saying a lot, because even Audemars Piguet doesn't produce. Back in the day, I mean, in the 90s and 80s, of certain Royal Oaks, they may have only produced, I don't know, 50 or so watches, sometimes 10. Same thing with Patek Philippe, with the Nautilus, right, or some of their other models. They don't produce that many watches of certain models. I mean, a lot of times they don't tell you what the numbers are, but the numbers are really not that high, and those are major companies, right? So if those guys are doing just limited release, that's really because that's all the market can really bear, right? I mean, it's not like these guys are going to sell 1,000 of these watches. Just never going to happen. What is it? It's like 200 grand plus at retail. So I find this thing kind of very disingenuous, whatever the word is. You know what I'm saying? This whole limited edition thing for these independent brands like means nothing unless it's like an edition of 5. But it's all marketing hype. It's the best marketing gimmick in the world. Okay, this is actually could be one of the bargains of the auction. A really cool watch. I think you can get these for about 10, 12 grand, in the secondary market. This is a vintage Tudor Monte Carlo, right? And it's basically a Daytona, but with a date. You got a date window with a Cyclops, which I think is very cool. I mean, this is very cool. They also come in blue. The orange is very 70s. This looks like it's in great condition. Let's see. Oh, it comes with papers. Turler. Oh, okay. This is great. Wow. It's got the original papers from Turler. Turler is where? Are they Italian or Turler? Where? Let's hang on a second. I think oh shit. Oh, they're not telling you. They're not telling you here. Oh, in the box. The box and papers. Wow. I think maybe it says Tudor, because there's a jeweler or a watch dealer called, I think it's Turler or something. But this could be a nice buy if you can, if you can deal with having a Tudor. I can't get into Tudor. I think of them as just a cheap Rolex, as kind of the poor man's Rolex. So it's got that stigma for me. And also, I don't really care for chronographs. But this is, if you're going to get a chronograph, I think this is a much better deal than any modern Daytona, because you're going to get this all in for, I would say, all in with premium, probably under 15 grand, 14 grand maybe. And this is something unique. You're not going to find this You're not going to find this too often. And I'm actually, I think, yeah, I think these Monte Carlos are actually, they're a bargain. I mean, again, it's a bargain compared to the Daytonas, which are not as interesting. I don't know it's the same watch. It's really almost the same watch. It's like, it's like Bentley and a Rolls Royce back in the day, up until the companies were sold off to VW and BMW. When it was the same car, basically. It was the same car, just a different labeling. Yes, the engine might have been tuned a little bit different, a little bit whatever, a little sportier, but they were the same cars, basically. Um, just like some people who could afford a Rolls Royce, but they just didn't want the Rolls because they just thought they don't want to have that the whole Rolls thing. But a Bentley is kind of more low key, although it's the same exact car. Yeah, so they went with a Bentley, and I think the same thing you could say with Tudor. There's a lot of people who kind of think Rolex is it has a certain it does have a certain negative reputation almost, as kind of like a too flashy or hype watch, whereas a Tudor, the average person doesn't know what Tudor is. They never heard that brand. They never heard of that brand. Okay, we're gonna get right into the heavy hitter of the auction here, and that is, it's not a Daytona. It is the Stelline. So this is the Rolex. I mean, this is an incredible watch, right? This is a triple calendar, and it's an oyster case, right? So it's a sports watch. This is a sports watch, basically. The ultimate sports watch, circa 1953. I mean, you could go swimming with this watch, right? You can whatever you do, whatever you could do with a Datejust Submariner, you could do with this pretty much. So this is circa 1953, and these things are amazing. So the estimate is 500,000 to 1 million, and it's got this funky bracelet on it, which is actually kind of ugly, to be honest. I think the bracelet, it's the thing with these older Rolex bracelets up until the modern era, like 2005. They always have that gap. They have that gap by the lugs, where the bracelet meets the case, and as you wear the bracelet, the gap just keeps opening, and it looks terrible. I think the best way to wear any of these Rolexes pre 2005 is on a strap. I mean, especially if it's a gold watch. For a gold watch, for sure, you really want to wear it on a strap, and it looks great. So this is so they call, again, is Stelline. That's the nickname for it, because of the little stars. So the Italians named all these watches so Stelline means little star. And we've seen a couple of these at auction. These are phenomenal watches. So, and they can go for big money, right? A black dial, same watch, but with a black dial, sold for, I believe, was it 5 million? A couple of years back, that was the Bao Dai that was owned by the, I think it was the Vietnamese, was he the prime minister or the king, whatever it was. And it was an incredible watch. Let me see if I can pull up an article on this. Hang on a second. I'm going to pull up an article. I'm going to pull up a Phillips article, actually, which shows a couple of these watches, if you guys can see this. So that's the watch on the wrist, and you can get these for maybe 300, low 300s. If the dial is kind of funky, if they're really beaten up, and I think that's where the value is in these. I I find that when the dial has a lot of patina, it's got more charm. I mean, the whole point of the watch is this kind of very charming, very it's got this very 1920s. I call it like the Little Prince. If anybody read that book by Saint Exupéry, I believe, the French author, The Little Prince. It's got that same vibe. The little stars, the man in the moon. He's got a little face. That's probably the watch was inspired by that, right? And yeah, so hang on a second. Let me just see. What did this one sell for? This was a 6062. Let me just pull this up because this one just went through auction. I think we covered this. I forgot what it sold for. I actually forgot what it sold for. Shit. Phillips. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I should have had this up for you, but what can I tell you? All right, it's gonna take too long to get it, but it should be a couple $100,000 if it's in kind of rougher condition or whatever. But these are, I mean, this is the ultimate blue chip of Rolex. I mean, this is if you're going to spend, again, in this range, this is so much better than a Daytona, than a Paul Newman watch. So much better. And look how great it looks on a strap. And this is in steel, right? So they made them in yellow gold, steel, and rose gold. And this one sold for $2 million. Over $2 million. About $2.4 million last year. And this is the original ad. Again, this is from the Phillips website. So they called it a cosmograph originally. Amazing, right? This is the ad. So from what I understand here is they made only about 1,000 of these in total. So, I think at some point Rolex has to bring this back. I don't know why they don't bring this back. This is just amazing. This would look fantastic today. Just, make it a little bit more modern and it would be amazing. This one sold for 7 million Hong Kong. So that's about 800,000, I think, US, roughly. Again, almost a year ago. Pink gold, rose gold. About 1.5 million, 2015. Wow. Okay, so let me show you. Okay, this is the black dial. This is the black dial, which is an amazing look for this watch. This is the Bao Dai. Oh, Emperor of Vietnam. That's right. He wasn't the king. He was the emperor, and his had these little diamonds on it, which, not so great. I mean, the Rolex, these little baby diamonds, as I always call them, they just don't look that great. And you see those gaps by the where the bracelet meets the case over there. That's what happens. So it's almost so much better on a strap. That's like the old Rolex quality. So this sold for I would say about the equivalent of $6 million today. Here we go. This is a bunch of these examples. Again, amazing watch. So back to Christie's. What is the deal with this watch? I mean, it looks pretty crisp, right? Looks pretty crisp. I think you're better off if you're going to go for kind of this area. I think you're getting much better value from the ones with maybe a little bit of some heavy patina on the dial, a little bit more funky, a little bit beaten up. Because then the watch has kind of, it's a 70-year-old watch, right? You want it to look like, and it's a sports watch. I think you want more of that patina for this watch. I think for this specific watch, you do want it. I think it's actually a benefit, and it's not worth paying that premium. I'd rather get one for 300 grand than $1 million, and have this like minty example, which is not even going to be that minty. They're going to tarnish also, so not worth it in my opinion. Okay, and again, one of the other overhyped watches, the Comex, Submariner Comex. Yeah, some of these can go for big money. I think we saw one go for like, was it over 100 grand with all the paperwork? Now this one also has all the paperwork, the box, the whole set. Which is, I don't know, it's kind of a joke. It really is a joke. At some point, people are gonna get tired of it. What is this? I actually missed this. Blancpain, retailed by Aqualung. I think Aqualung was the dive, the air tank company. So you get their logo on it. 1960s, 20 to 40,000. Yeah. I find these kind of like a very basic tool watches, stainless steel tool watches at high prices, like kind of a joke in a way. I mean, you basically, I'm not sure if that value is going to hold up historically. But let's keep rolling here. Nice gold Submariner, the real King Tut, right? This is circa 2000, so it's got the kind of the Chimsy bracelet. Actually, no, it's got the older Submariner bracelet, but this dial, I mean, the blue is incredible, and again, I think it actually looks much better on a strap. You got to get the right strap because again, it's a diver. You almost need like a special rubber blue strap or something like that. The GMTs like this on full gold, they look amazing on a suede strap, especially the nipple dial. So the older ones, the ones from the 70s, early 80s. But yeah, this is probably going to go for like 20 grand, roughly 21 grand. Actually, this is kind of a lot of you're getting a lot of watch for the money. If you can get this for 22 grand all in, kind of which is what they go for, without box papers, naked. Okay, this is really interesting. We got a date. Again, kind of a rare. This is a pretty rare spec. So you got the rubies on the bezel, and it makes it look so much better than when you have just all diamonds on the bezel. Because, as you guys know, I'm not a fan of those little diamonds. But the rubies, because they're baguettes, they're horizontal, they make it look. Again, they provide more balance. They balance it out. Again, the little diamonds, they just look very feminine on a round bezel. But when you have the baguettes, the horizontal, it makes it a little more, I don't want to say masculine, but balanced out. And what's great is you have this incredible diamonds inside that the bracelet, that center link, which is a very cool look. I think it's so much more interesting than if it would be, just all bling. And this is, of course, all factory, right? All factory, 1995. And it's not cheap. This is not cheap. Again, this 36 millimeter, not cheap at all. What is the estimate? The estimate is 50 to 100,000. Okay. This watch could be interesting. You want to kind of keep an eye on this. What makes it special is it's pink gold. So this is early. This is 1974. So any of you boomers or whatever, that's your birth year watch. There you go. Again, you see that the gap, the case, you see that gap. You see a lot of light between there. But the cool thing about this watch, and you do want to kind of look at it in person. I can't tell from these photos the condition of the dial. Maybe there's some scratches on the crystal. I don't know. But the silvery, that kind of silvery dial with the rose gold hands, it looks great. The rose gold, it just looks really great. Again, at the right price. At the right price, it's great. So, oh, this is a full set. Oh, this wow. Okay, this was bought originally in Amsterdam. In Amsterdam in the 70s. Can you picture Amsterdam in the 70s? I think that's when they, it was kind of quite the party scene there, right? That was all the hippies who were living there. You had that red light district, in its peak, with all the coffee shops, as they call them. For 15 grand, this is a good buy. Just, fix the bracelet a little bit. 15 grand, it's a nice deal. Curious to see what it would go for, because again, very basic day, just you do have that nicer dial, the full set. Amsterdam is nice. Okay, guys, if you are just tuning in, again, make sure that you are getting our free weekly newsletter. Click the link in the video description below to get the latest updates on the world of Rolex, AP, Patek Philippe, and more, vintage and modern, in your inbox, absolutely free. The link is in the video description below. And while you're at it, if you're brand new to the channel, press the subscribe button. And also the like button, the upvote, whatever it is. It helps the algorithm. It helps the algorithm, and it allows us to keep bringing you more content. So we got some Stella dials. Interesting. We got, what is this one here? This is this is a red lacquer for the Sultan of Oman. Does he have the back also? No. Okay. So just the front. This thing looks like it's been polished quite a bit. Looks like it's had a decent life. It's definitely been worn, right? That's good. Okay, Cartier, not for me. Piaget, okay. Again, we've seen this Cartier stuff. It's like, again, I think this is modern, right? Yeah, 2004. The Benoit Langer, 10 to 20. Okay. There's a lot of hype in these things. It's a lot of hype. I wouldn't be chasing Cartier at these levels already. Again, another one, white gold, 10 to 20,000. Again, it's really just a trend. I don't think it's going to last too long, because it's too. The problem with these Cartiers, these funky shaped Cartiers, it's too specific. It's not. Very few people are going to wear that, right? Very few people, and so I think the upside on those is limited. Let's take a look here. We got a couple of very interesting watches right here. Okay, so we got a Daniel Roth, and this is diamond set, which I don't know if I've ever seen a diamond set, and on the buckle also. There you go. That is, my friends, attention to detail. The diamonds on the buckle it's a big deal. It really is, because look, if you're going to go for the diamonds, you want the watch to have a little sparkle from every angle, right? Not just from the front. 20 to 40,000. So this is a jumping out retrograde. This is a crazy movement. I can't get into these like bizarre dial layouts. I just like a standard thing that goes around, 1 to 12. I'm just not into this jump hour stuff. It's not for me, but it's it's okay. Daniel Roth is on the move, though. Now this is interesting. This is a watch we covered yesterday. Again, I think this is a very fugly watch. And the estimate here is 10 to 20,000, right? This is the Cobra, the Audemars Piguet Cobra white gold, known as the Shah's watch, the Shah of Iran. You know, we just did a video yesterday with a review of the Shah's collection. And this is the exact watch he wore quite a bit, sort of in the late, you know, in his last years when he was in exile. This is the watch he was wearing. And this, my friends, is a full set. This watch looks like it's in mint condition, and the full set, box papers, and you get these cufflinks. You get these cufflinks with that same kind of weave motif. So, you know, what would those sell for by themselves? It's hard to say. If they were like ellipse cufflinks, it might be $3 grand plus. These are, I think it's a little bit tacky, to be honest. I think it's a little bit tacky to wear matching cufflinks with the watch. You know, cufflinks that match the watch. It's almost like wearing a pocket square that's, you know, that matches your tie, the same fabric. You know, it's like a set. If they sell it in a set, and yeah, there's some weird brands that have done. I mean, like, there's actually a few high-end brands who did that for, like, I think Stefano Ricci did that, or one of those. Maybe Brioni was doing that back in the night. It's a little bit. I think it's a little bit tacky. You don't want to have something that's very matchy like that. But this, again, these things have basically doubled, have more than doubled in the last couple of months. I don't know why. I'd like to find out. But if the trend continues, this could easily, this might actually set a new record. It might go for like 40 grand all in, just because the full set and the cufflinks, which you don't see. You don't see that type of thing. Okay. This is a real cool watch. And again, this could be a bargain. You know, if you think, the thing is with auctions, you never know what's going to happen, right? You never know what's going to happen. If maybe, you know, somebody doesn't show up, there's less competition. So we got the perpetual calendar, right? This is the Audemars Piguet. That's their, you know, the beautiful perpetual calendar that they did, but they have it in this integrated case, integrated bracelet, which is actually quite nice. I mean, again, it is that 70s, 80s look. You just, you know, you got to appreciate that. If you know that it's basically like an ironic statement piece. It's an ironic piece. It's not like your everyday watch. It's like, yeah, you wear it like, because it's kind of a hokey watch. It really is. It's a little bit kitschy, but cool. You know what I mean? It's that kitschy but cool. It straddles that line. So you have onyx, right? The onyx is on that on the bezel. The bezel, you got diamonds and sapphires. Those are sapphires on the hour indexes. You know what I don't like is you see the seams for the onyx, the seams, you know, to make the octagon, which is, I guess they had to do it, but it takes it. Just from, kind of kills the magic. The seams kind of kill the magic. By the way, the minute these hands on these subdials, they're blue. They're blue, as you can see. So the sapphire matches those hands, which is a really nice touch. And this estimate is probably low. 25. Actually, no, it could go for like that. It might hammer for like 40 grand plus your premium. 1981. Look at this bracelet. Wow. Stunning. Let's take a look. And again, you know, how many of these did they make? Probably maybe a dozen. Oh, what is this? Is this a video? A very basic video. Okay. Let's see. So the woven gold bracelet is made by Jean-Pierre Escoffier, JPE case stamp. One of the greatest and most celebrated bracelet makers. Yeah, I think he did stuff. We saw stuff I think he did for in another auction. We've seen that his hallmark on something else. I forget what it was. Was it a Patek? But yeah, but this guy did this bracelet, and look, it's basically a piece of jewelry. It is a dated look. It's an '80s look, but the '80s are coming back. Let's keep going. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, so they got a the Royal Oak date moon phase, but in a full gold case from the '80s, 20 to 40,000 estimate. This one though has the it's a Spanish or Italian dial, and this is Roman numerals, but what is it? It's not the tapisserie. What is the case? What it is? Hang on, porcelain, not porcelain. Yeah, it is a porcelain. Okay, it is a porcelain dial. So nice watch, and of course, I got the same one on the wrist, except this is the two-tone, the classic version with the tapisserie dial. And this, again, great watch. I think these were a great value. I think still, if you can get the two-tone for in the 20s, I think you're going to do very well long term. Okay, we got again. This auction is a little bit like we got the Shah of Iran's greatest hits. We had the Cobra. And now we have the Jumbo, the Audemars Piguet, the Royal Oak Jumbo in steel, circa 1980 C series, and it comes with a box, and it's all about that box. I can't get into these dials though. I always found those dials very severe, like the gray, the black. It's just not an exciting color. With the steel, it just looks too brutalist. The brutalist architecture, which it's kind of based on, but it's just too depressing. You want to have a bright dial. Again, the dial makes such a big difference. Look, same watch, same exact watch, but you have like this salmon tapisserie dial. And this is an older design, right? But still, look how much better it looks. So this is an anniversary edition. These are about, I think these go for about 75 all in. Whatever. There we go. Yeah, it is the Shah's greatest hits. Because we got the Jumbo. Oh, excuse me, not the Jumbo. 3800. The 3800. This is the smaller. This is a smaller one. Now, in this 30 to 50,000 estimate, full gold, you got the blue dial. Now, here's what I'm saying. They're saying it's in good condition, right, in the catalog notes. But look at this. I mean, this thing looks like this bezel looks like it's been absolutely, it looks like a beach pebble. It's so smooth. It's been the whole thing. All the edges have been smoothed down. It's the brushing is gone. I mean, this watch must have been through hell and back. I've never seen one this. I mean, this is one of the worst examples I've ever seen. But they're claiming it's in good condition. It says the case is preserved in very good overall condition, which is not true. I mean, that is a total bullshit. Underlined by the clearly visible hallmarks. Now, when they say the case, are they? This thing is like, it's got, the case looks like it's been banged in. No, maybe that's the lighting. Okay. No, you know, look at this. Unless I mean, is it my eyes or something? I mean, is it the angle? Because they're claiming it's in very good overall condition. I don't see that good overall condition. I mean, it's like it looks like it's been very worn down. You got dings, scratches. I mean, it is gold, but still, we're gonna see one Phillips tomorrow, which is immaculate, minty, minty crisp. Okay, what is this? This is okay, so they got a bunch of these Calatravas. I get them all mixed up. There's a bunch of them that are kind of the same. This is the this is a Gubelin signature, 30 to 80. So this is tricky. So Patek Philippe made a bunch of Calatravas in the 60s, a couple different models. They look kind of very similar, but one goes for like 10 to 15 and one goes for like 50, which is this one here. There's some subtle nuances, different movements. What I gotta study up on this later. But yeah, you kind of have to be careful with these. First series, they got a whole catalog notes. Okay, so you're paying yeah, there's a bunch of, okay, so there's 4 series that they did. So you're paying a premium because it's pink gold, which is that was more rare. Okay. All right, whatever. Now, again, one of the most interesting watches in the auction. Yeah. Yeah, that Patek that they had, that Nautilus, it does, Craig. It looks like somebody took sandpaper to it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just all of a sudden I'm seeing these comments come in. I don't even know which watch were you talking about. I wasn't looking at the comment. There was no comments for like 30 minutes. All of a sudden, there's 5 comments, and I missed. I don't know which watch was the one. Okay, 3 dose of watch report on Monday. That's right. Exactly, Craig. I concur. Uh, Yeah, no, I mean, you really need to look at these watches in person. I mean, they got to correct that. I mean, by the way, on a side note, I have a real issue with some of the catalog descriptions, the watch departments at these auctions are very, I mean, they get very, let's just say, there's a lot of hyperbole in their descriptions. Like every watch is, extremely rare and super, like they go this whole thing. I mean, that's the headline, right? Whereas, the Christie's, the art auctions, all they have is the name of the artist, the title, that's it. They don't go into all that hyperbole. They might do a little bit of it in the catalog, in the notes. They'll say, yeah, this is, a unique thing done, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, not in the whole description. Like everything here reads, it's too much. I mean, it's tacky. It's actually very tacky. Who does it? Who's the tackiest? I think it's an arms race between Phillips and Monaco Legends. I mean, they're both like, got these ridiculous descriptions. Okay, this is fascinating, right? We saw one of these. What is it? About a month ago at who had that auction? I forgot who it was, but anyway, we saw a mint example of this, and this is a Patek Philippe special order by Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson. And what does it say? It says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which is fascinating because it's kind of interesting, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now, Lyndon B. Johnson, he was known as a total prick. I mean, he really was. That was his reputation, right? But he had this, I mean, it just goes to say it's all about the virtue signaling, right? Always. Anyway, he ordered 10 of these from Tiffany. That's right. It's a Tiffany dial. As you see, it says Tiffany at the top. And this one has a really interesting story. So he ordered 10 of these in the 50s. Apparently, two of them are in the LBJ Museum or the LBJ Library, whatever they're called. One of them we saw at auction. This is the second one. So that means there's about 6 more examples floating around. And historically, I mean, it's an amazing, I mean, it's historically a very important watch, right? When you think about it. You got a Patek Philippe Tiffany dial with funky integrated bracelets, 1950s. Custom ordered by, Lyndon Johnson, who was, at the time, he was a senator, but still a very powerful guy. Very powerful senator. And then he became president a couple years later. So, and he gave him to like very close advice. I mean, like, you got to think about it. This was a lot of money even back then. These were probably the equivalent of $40,000, $50,000 in today's money. So for a senator to spend that type of money, again, where was the guy getting that money? Where was that money coming from? It's the equivalent of, I don't know, who's a senator today that's AOC. Was she a congresswoman? Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. Is she in Congress? Oh, okay, she's a congresswoman, whatever it is. Senate, is it Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz? But imagine that guy. He's not giving $50,000 gifts, right? He's not, I guarantee you. I mean, maybe, who knows? But where was he getting the money, right? Still, it's a big investment. And now this watch is a fascinating story we're going to see in the catalog notes. Okay, so okay, so this watch was originally gifted to Robert Kerr of Oklahoma. Who's Robert Kerr? We don't know. Must have been a heavy hitter. Must have been, I don't know, donor. Who knows? And this guy Kerr, Mr. Kerr, Robert Kerr of Oklahoma, gave this watch. I guess this Kerr was a senator. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. Senator. He was a senator. So senator. He was another senator, Senator Robert Kerr. So Johnson is giving these expensive gifts to, basically guys who are going to vote his way. So I'm figuring like this. And again, I don't have any proof, but I'm assuming that, he's giving out these very expensive gifts to ingratiate himself with guys who are going to vote with him on whatever bills, which maybe he's getting paid on, or nobody does anything for free, right? Especially a guy like that, master politician. He's not doing this because he's a nice guy, right? There's an angle. And anyway, so he gives it to this guy, Senator Kerr of Oklahoma, and Senator Kerr gives this watch to his pilot who landed him safely in a very bad storm. So apparently the guy had a private plane back in the day, and there was his pilot's flying him. There's a bad storm, and he skillfully lands the guy through a tumultuous storm. And the pilot's grandson or grandkids, they inherited the watch, and it's coming from them. So that is the story. So, so basically, look, you got to realize this watch, all the people who've touched this watch, they've all been very capable people. You got LBJ, master politician. You got this Senator Kerr, who obviously, look, to be a senator, that's impressive, right? And then you got this, Top Gun pilot, all right? You got Tom Cruise, who skillfully landed a plane in a tumultuous storm in the 1950s. By the way, they didn't have, probably they didn't even have they didn't have instruments on the planes. It was probably all, VFR, visual. So, they didn't have all the high tech we have today where a plane could land itself. No, you had to do it the old fashioned way. So the guy could have ended up dead, but the pilot, was able to land the plane, and he got the watch as a gift. I mean, the guy, I bet this guy, can you imagine? You can see the scene, right? It's probably like some sort of, hailstorm or something. I mean, like the plane's probably turning over. The guy thinks he's going to die, right? The Senator Kerr thinks he's going to die. He's already, saying his prayers. They land the plane, and this guy jumps out. He probably gets down. He kisses the ground, and then he looks up. He sees the pilot. He takes the watch off his wrist that he got from Lyndon B. Johnson. He goes, "Son, this watch for you." Right? That's the Oklahoma accent. I don't know how they said it, but it was like, you can imagine it was something like that, right? That was probably the scene. And the guy probably, they wore it. I mean, the watch was worn. It's got patina and everything. I mean, that's a real pilot's watch. Okay, now we got a real heavy hitter that could be a sleeper. Another blue chip of Patek. We got the Patek Perpetual Calendar. This is a late example, 1985. I think after this, they went to the 3940. I think they stopped doing this, right? You got the leap year indication at the. What an elegant watch, right? 3450, 120 to 220, and it's crispy. Look at this. No sandpaper here. What is that? Okay. There you go. It's great. Again, one of the Patek Philippe blue chips. These are just going to keep increasing in value. Why? It's got the classic look. It's got the classic layout, classic look, timeless. That's what you want. What you want to look for in a watch is a timeless design. And again, they copied this for the annual calendar. This is the real deal. So they only made 238 of these in yellow gold. That's what the notes say. What size is this? 30. So it's almost 38. So it's a good size. It's not a small watch. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is the last model. It was discontinued right after this. This is the last of this of the 3450, and then they went to the classical 3940. Beautiful dolphin hands. I mean, magnificent watch. What is it going to go for? It'd be interesting to find out, right? 120 to 220, but I would say if you can get this for in the 150s, 160s all in, you're going to do well with this over a period of 5 years, 10 years. Okay, now this is the next version, right? This is the 3940. I love this watch. I have one in white gold, but this is a beautiful, beautiful. This has got to be rose gold, right? What does it say here? Okay, again, look. Let's read this description. A rare and elegant 18K gold, or why don't they just say Patek Philippe? 3940, and then in the catalog description notes they could say rare and elegant. Why do they have to clutter it up with this used car salesman's pitch? You know who does this bullshit? It's like the guys who are selling the classical cars, the collector cars. They like to use this very flowery language. You got the full set right there. Wow. And the watch looks so good. What is this? Yeah, this is yellow gold. It is yellow. It looks almost rose, but anyway. So they're saying second series, they made 1,680 watches. in yellow gold in the second series. By the way, that's a lot of, that's, a decent amount of watches. The second series, I think, was about 5 years. Yeah, about 5, 6 years, 7 years. It's quite a few watches. It's not, again, it's quite a few watches, especially 50 years ago, 40 years ago. Okay, now this one really is special. By the way, we know the 3940 prices are going up, right? It's a true classic. It's going to be the blue chip. 25 to 50,000. It's probably going to go for all in 50,000 plus. It looks like in very solid condition. Looks stunning, actually. Oh, is there a display case? Oh, I hope so. A display back? I don't know. Now this is the real blue chip. Okay, this is it. Over here we have the 3940 with the gilt dial. Very, very. This legitimately is rare. These guys say rare. This is rare, and this is the exact watch that Philippe Stern had. That's the version. He had the gilt dial. I actually saw one of these in person at the Miami Beach show, and it was like, wow. It was like, wow. Really, it was definitely a wow factor. 1988, 60 to 100,000. And what do you get? You get just a watch. It's naked. Okay, so what are they saying? The design, the first 25 had this gilt dial. Oh, we're signed Bayer. Yeah. In the following year, they did very few. Okay. Okay. Oh, so we learned something interesting, right? So the first 25 of the 3940s ever made, I think it looks like they were done for Bayer, which is a watch dealer. Apparently, that's their oldest dealer. So I think Bayer dials, Gubelin dials are actually historically more important than Tiffany, or as important as Tiffany. And they don't sell for big money. They don't sell at a big premium. They should. And after that, after they did those 25 Bayer dials, they did apparently very few non-Bayer dials like this. So this is, interesting. So I would say, again, it's a naked watch, right? It's hard to tell the condition of the case. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, it looks like it's may have had a polish. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It doesn't look mint. I'll put it to you that way. And oh, yeah, it's definitely been through. It's been through a couple polishes. Otherwise, the smart money, the smart bet would be to buy a gilded dial, full set gilt dial. That would be amazing. Let's take a look here. Okay, so we got some modern watches. And okay, see, now you got the annual calendar, right? You got the annual calendar, which is, Same design as the Perpetual, pretty much, right? Same design, same layout. And this was a very popular run. They still got one left. They're going to phase it out, right? They got the blue dial, white gold with diamonds. I think that's the last one they're doing. $20,000 to $40,000 is the estimate for this. It looks like a full set, I think. Full set, right? Looks like a full set. I don't know. The thing with the rose gold, it looks better with that chocolate dial. If you're going to go with the rose gold for these watches, they did a chocolate dial version, which looks better. And I think those are about 40 grand. I'm curious to see what this goes for. The bracelet is actually pretty nice. But the one to get is this guy here. Now, this is a Tiffany dial. So, I don't know, you got that nonsense, the Tiffany nonsense. Watch looks like it's been banged around a little bit. It's definitely got some scratches and dings. Yeah, it's been around. So normally without the Tiffany dial, it'd be like 40 grand, maybe 47 in good condition. Yeah, there you go. See, there you go. Those look at those dings and gouges. Dings, gouges, scrapes, and you're going to get more of that because you get that big mirror polished bezel, and that's what happens. Look at that. Can you see that? Oof. Pretty rough. Yeah. Wow. So they got a 45 to 65 estimate because of the Tiffany. I don't know if it's going to get that much. We saw a rose gold chocolate dial sell for 60 grand with a Tiffany dial a couple months ago at Loop This. So, and that was minty. This one is, it's going to be at the low end of that range. Okay, let's wrap it up. We got a few more. No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, these are kind of, I don't know, whatever. Pretty boring or, relatively basic. Travel time, chronograph. The guilloche is actually pretty nice. It is pretty nice. It is, yeah. This is, yeah, 30 to 50,000 is the estimate. It seems, I don't know. I wonder what do these go for normally? The chronograph, do you really need a chronograph? Flyback chronograph. I don't know. It's a nice design, nice dial though. Nice dial. Okay, I'll just bring this up real quick. They got these funky clocks, which this is like the weirdest thing. These things are basically made out of tomato cans, right? They're made out of, I don't know, brass, like it's the goofiest thing, right? It's like is it a solar clock or a quartz clock? I don't know, battery powered clock. It does come with this nice case, and I don't know who buys these. I really don't know who buys these, but they go for huge money. Okay, you got the cloisonne, all right, whatever. $150,000 to $300,000. Mechanical movement rewound by electric motor. What does that mean? Mechanical movement rewound by electric motor. And basically, they're trying to sell you this thing that, okay, you're paying for this enamel, this craftsmanship, which I got to tell you, this is, it's hokey, it's tacky. It really is. It's kitschy. This is, and I understand if this was made in the 1950s, okay, 1940s, but this is being made now, 2022. I mean, it's this is something that should have been done in the maximum 1958. I mean, this is such a old-fashioned looking design. It's just like, I don't get it. And the price is bananas. Bananas for these. Again, it's part of their rare handcrafts. The rare handcrafts. Look, my issue with the thing with the rare handcrafts is I don't want to have any batteries. I don't want to have any batteries in my rare handcrafts. What happens if they stop making batteries 30 years or 50 years from now? What do you do then? These are ridiculous, really. They're ridiculous. And I don't think the design is that good. Also, the design is ugly. So that's it. If Thierry Stern is watching, I mean, look, some of the stuff, the rare handcrafts, amazing, but some of the stuff is just kitschy. They should stop doing it. Batteries, I mean, really, seriously, guys. I don't want to have any electricity in my rare handcrafts. I want it all manual, mechanical. All right, guys, let me know what you think. Leave your comments below if you're watching this later. Make sure that, again, if you're brand new to the channel, that you click the like and subscribe button, because it does help the algorithm. And of course, you want to get our free weekly newsletter. Click that link in the video description below. Do that right now. You'll have that incredible newsletter coming into your inbox twice a week. Latest news on Rolex, Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe, Vacheron, JLC, independent brands, and more. We get, again, anybody who gets that newsletter loves that letter. We get a lot of people getting it, and it's free. Click the link in the video description, and we'll see you on the next one.